What's happening, everybody? I had to put my shades on because I got to be cool like 30 Spray J. Because this future looks so bright, he's got to wear shades, so I just want to be part of the cool kids club. But anyway, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the Suplex Syndicate show. Sasquatch, how was your week, brother?
Yo, my week is fantastic, man. Just came up with the new scent. Put out the artwork for Firecracker, which is going to be released on July 4th. Great summertime scent. Smells like a bomb pop. So
Right.
yeah. But
Heck yeah.
outside of that,
What
life has
about you?
been lovely.
What about you, 30 Spray?
Oh, work, and trying to stay cool out of this heat wave we about to get.
It has been hot, man. It was hot here today. It was so hot. I was like, you know what? I got to get my hair cut because it was just driving me crazy. It was a little bushy, and I'm like, man, it's too hot. But anyway, you know, we have got a family portrait picture, I believe, here somewhere. Let me see here. Right there. We've
Yes,
got a family portrait picture.
I,
And I
I
got to
look.
tell you,
I was going to say I look like the uncle that nobody invites to the barbecue in the back.
and we got 30 spray doing it all up, doing his thing. I don't know though. I think it's got me looking kind of mad though. I don't know what's going on with that one.
You'd be mad too if I was spraying this all in your face.
Okay. But I did find a picture of what 30 Spray J looks like when he's watching wrestling during the week. Right here. 30 Spray J. He's getting
Nailed it.
angry. He's getting angry at everything. Getting a little crazy.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
The
So
eyes,
I'll
It will
tell you
man.
what,
take
fellas.
to the public. It will
Let's
take
start
a
off.
donation to a good charity for me to dye my hair to look like that.
Oh, dude, we're gonna get we're
Well,
gonna get you all set up at the Buckeye Beard Battle. We're gonna make it happen. um, why don't we do the Monday Night Raw recap?
absolutely. Just trying to think
No.
what actually happened on Raw that was actually worthwhile. But go ahead, Jake, 'cause I personally don't remember Monday Night Raw.
Um, just the whole solo thing where he wants recognition from Fatu.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
he wants that. He wants that love,
Right.
and I'm here for it. I'm glad that this feud has finally started to happen. Uh, I think Jacob Fatu is an absolute beast before WWE, and now that he got into WWE, if you haven't noticed, he had cut some weight, moving a little bit faster. I mean, he's always been a fast little Samoan werewolf, but the
Right.
man is unstoppable. And I think that he already has the mic skills. He already has the move set. So anybody that works with Jacob Fatu is actually looking better. And I would say that Solo has done his own work and is getting better on his own. But this beef, they're feeding off each other really well, and I think it's going. The
Right.
only thing I don't like about it is I know that there's going to be a ton of interference, and I really just want it to be a one-on-one like
Right.
So,
battle.
so
Plug it out.
the question I have is, yeah, JC's with Sokoa, obviously, but where the hell is Tama Tonga and Tamaloa? Like they're
Right.
just, I know one of them's hurt, but what about the other one? Why are they just off TV altogether? Nobody's talked about them at all. Nothing.
No. No.
They fall off
It.
the
I
couch.
think that WWE always makes these cuts and everything, and they better find something to do with these Samoans because they were building them for this bloodline thing, and then the bloodline thing fell off, and one of them got hurt.
Yep.
I don't know, and I really hope that they can continue on with this bloodline thing, and because to me, before the end of the year, the Usos are going to be back together. Roman Reigns is going to be back. There's got to still be some dynamic push of who is the better bloodline. I know they already did it. They already did the whole, first Raw on Netflix, so versus Roman. But they're gonna have to build this back up or start
Right.
dismantling and leaving everybody to their own demise.
Right.
Solo and UC are just not going to be a tag team that really goes anywhere, especially on Raw because SmackDown has the tag.
Right. To be honest, though, if you look at the situation, the ones that have all the momentum out of all the Samoans is Jey Uso, Jacob Fatu, and you saw Jimmy helping out Fatu. You get those three together, they're going to have the momentum. And I really think maybe they're looking at this going, you know what? Those three got it. If the other ones fall off, who cares? You know what I mean? Really. I mean, there's only so much TV time and there's only so much they can do.
Isn't I was gonna say,
You
isn't
know,
Survivor Series in November, right?
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
You
yeah,
think they're gonna push this feud that long, and you'll have
I seen it yesterday on somebody's predictions, and it was like Roman Reigns and the Usos again, and then it
right,
had Seth Rollins and his crew plus Sami Zayn, and
right,
we already had this. We already had this Survivor Series. We don't need it again. We don't.
right,
Even if
yeah,
it's one guy on another team or whatever, like we already did this.
right. I mean, and that's the thing is they got to start mixing it up more.
yep.
They got to get rid of this. We've already seen it. I mean, thinking of
Yeah.
things we already saw. Um, Goldberg,
There we go.
Goldberg against Gunter, and the problem is, so here's my prediction about that, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think it is going to come true. You look at the shirt. There's little details in the shirt he was wearing. He's going to do it in Atlanta, where he won against Hogan, first time WCW championship. My prediction is this: it's going to be a squash match. He's going to squash Gunter. When he's not looking, Seth Rollins going to cash in and win the title, and Goldberg is going to ride off in the sunset.
That's that's Saturday's night main event, right?
Main event, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I mean, knowing Goldberg and knowing what they want to do because he makes money, and he's probably like, hey, I want to go out on this. So I mean, he's going to squash Gunter, which sucks for Gunter, but I mean, they've done it plenty of times with other guys. He's going to win, and Seth is going to cash in. That's my prediction on what's going to happen.
I'm usually the guy that with the controversial stops, but I'm gonna say I agree with you. We're not gonna get a John Cena last tour of Goldberg, which thank God.
Right, right,
Um, but I think it's gonna suck though because it's really gonna push Gunther back down. Like once I think the best run of him was the Intercontinental Championship.
Yep.
Not even the
yeah,
heavyweight.
Yep.
yeah,
He made,
They
he
didn't do
made that
anything.
belt. He made that belt worth something.
Yep.
right,
Brought all these mid Carter guys, and you were actually rooting for these guys and not worrying about a heavyweight champion.
right,
So if they would push him back down, and then he has to build himself back up and do another Intercontinental, sure, I'm here for it. But you can't just give this man the title just for Goldberg, just to give it back to Jay, and then or maybe even Seth, because from what I've seen, Seth thinks that Jay is going to be a champion before he is. And if so, or if not, if it is Seth, then you already can see what WrestleMania is going to be.
right. The only reason I think what I said is going to happen because Goldberg's going to squash. He wins the title. You can't let him have it. He's not going to be able. He's not going to be able to commit to dates. And plus, nobody wants to see a Goldberg title reign. If he goes out with Seth cashing in as soon as it's over, because here's what I think. I think Braun Breaker is going to spear him. He's going to spear him, put him down. Seth's going to come in, cash it in, boom, 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 3. That way Goldberg can be like, well, I retired. I was a champion, but I got cashed in. He doesn't really lose face that way. You know what I mean? And
No,
I
I
think
think he only really wants one more match. That's it.
right. And I think that's the best way to do it. If they decide
Yeah,
to have him beat Gunter, he can't leave there with the belt. That
yeah.
would be silly. So he's got to lose it that night with a cash in, and then what I think will happen with Gunter is I think maybe this gives him time to go away for a couple months, redesign himself, maybe kind of like come back with a different attitude, because I think if he was more grittier as a heel, like he needs to let the nastiness out, right? Because I mean, he's that polished heel right now. I think he needs to go to, like, hey, after that loss to Goldberg, I've got to be meaner now. I've got to really just, you know, and I think that might be an opportunity for him. I mean, you got to make something out of the bad, right? Because I'm pretty sure he knows he's going to get squashed. But something good can come out of the bad where he rises out of the ashes, and it's kind of like a new, grittier,
I
meaner persona.
I
You know?
really hate that they let go of one of the guys from Imperium. I
Yeah,
loved Imperium in the whole,
yeah,
the come in. I loved the entrance, the taking the coat off of him,
right, right,
introducing him. Like
right.
he really felt like he was uh, like like a Mr. Kennedy without,
Yeah,
with a squad. Like it was like, you're gonna know my name. And
right,
he's a great technical wrestler. I
right.
at first I couldn't stand him, but the more I watched him just wrestling, I was like, this is classic. This is classic
Yeah,
wrestling.
Yep.
yeah,
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 him and Ludwig. I actually liked that combo. That was nice.
yeah, right,
You get your power. Ludwig wasn't really a high flyer. It was a great,
right.
contribution. A contributor to Gunther. Made him look even stronger than what he was. Or is. But
Right. You,
yeah,
you got to give it to Gunther too, because the dude can go. He's a banger. He can go.
So,
And the other thing is he can make other wrestlers look good. I
yep,
mean, he
they
made it.
need
I
to
mean,
start.
no
Uh,
slam on Jay, but he made Jay look good in those matches. He really
yeah,
did. You
he
know.
did. The
So,
thing
yeah,
about Gunther though is that's opportunity for them to bring up some other guys. Let
yeah.
let Sheamus back up in there.
I,
Let
you know,
somebody.
the problem with Sheamus is how many times do you do that with him? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
he's
He's at the
I
speed
mean,
of building.
He's not. Unfortunately, he's not. He isn't what he was 10 years ago. So he's not. I don't think he can be a heavyweight title contender anymore, just for the
right,
simple fact that he's too far up there in age.
right. What's happening, Tara?
Um,
Thanks for joining us.
Neon Arm Fringe, I
Arm
would say
Fringe.
that would be the
Ultimate Warrior.
ultimate real warrior.
Ultimate Warrior. Yep. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but you know, I really hope though that if he does get, if it is a match like that where he gets steamrolled by Goldberg, I hope it doesn't squash everything with him. I hope they bring him back, give him some time, let him recreate himself, and just come back and him start crushing
Oh
everybody.
yeah,
You
yep.
know, that'll be cool. Yep. Well, fellas, did we forget anything on Raw? Was the Queen of the Ring match on Raw? That was Asuka, right? She won it, didn't?
Yep.
Yep, Oscar, which
Yeah.
I love Oscar.
Yeah.
The last thing really for Raw would be that Rhodes stopping Rollins
Yeah.
uh,
Right.
after the Jey Uso King of the Ring advancement.
Yeah.
I think that we are going to get a King Yeet, and I'm here for it.
Right. Right. It'll be yeah, interesting to see what happens with the King of the Ring. The Queen of the Ring is lining up pretty good too.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
I
See
have a
what
feeling they're going to
happens.
be turning Oscar Ashley heel by that by
Yeah.
how she came out. She came out with the mask that she usually comes
Gotcha.
out with when she is a heel, which I'm okay
Yeah.
with. I actually like Oscar better as a heel than I do as a face. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And then let's see. Let's talk about some SmackDown. Um, actually, Raw.
ooh,
One last thing on Raw, was the Jade Cargill match on Raw last week or no?
Oh
Because
no, I
she's
think that was the
going.
previous.
Yeah, because I think it's this Monday night's Raw that it's Jade Cargill versus Asuka, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But SmackDown, I'll tell you, man, the reason why I don't really remember a lot on Monday night is because SmackDown to me is the show, man. SmackDown has got everything going on lately.
Absolutely.
You know,
SmackDown is absolutely destroying it for storyline wise.
right,
Just overall in general, it's not the same boring old stuff that you see every week on Raw. It's something actually a little bit
right,
fresher.
right.
I like. Okay, so SmackDown. Just real quick, Wyatt Six Tag Team Championship next week with the Street Profits.
Yep, yep,
And I find like they if they keep pushing these guys, give them some belts, give them some more TV time, let that story build out because you can also build up to more of what the Uncle Howdy is going to do and the Bray
right,
Wyatt legacy and everything. I've always been a big Bray Wyatt fan, so
right.
I want the backstory of it all. But I love Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy together. I don't
Yes.
know if they ever wrestled together before the Wyatt Six. I was trying to find some stuff. I didn't find anything.
Were they in NXT at the same time together?
I think so at one point, and then Loomis
Yeah,
moved up. Of course, Joe Gacy
right,
was left behind, but
right.
um, they just flow so well together, and it's
Yeah,
always good to see a good tag team that has everything. You know,
right,
don't have to look. My partner's right here. I know what the next move is going to be. Let's set it up.
right,
So I love the Street Profits. I think they're one of the best as
right.
well as far as working together. But I am here for a Wyatt Six title reign.
I'll tell you, if they don't slap the belts on the Wyatt Six, that's good for business, man. And it
Yep.
brings a lot of momentum, and it opens up the storyline, and it can progress to Wyatt Six. I like the Street Profits, but I think they've ran out of steam.
Yep. That
Um,
they were done like a year and a half ago. Like
right,
we
right,
mentioned this before. They should have Montez Ford should have been a star already by himself. And
Yes.
Dawkins is a good second person, but he's not
right,
without Montez. He's really nothing. You know what I mean?
right, right.
He is the Marty Jannetty of the Street Profits.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah, hopefully they put the belts on them. That would be a good move seeing that happen. Um so then we had what else happened on
Oh,
there?
the John Cena CM Punk.
Well, before that,
Oh,
before
before
that,
that. Okay.
but during the mat, we had the Ron Killings R Truth match with John
Yeah.
Cena.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you what, man. R Truth looked good.
Yeah.
Ron Killings looked good, man. He can definitely put it out there. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna stick to my prediction. He is going to be the savior. He's going to win it from John Cena because every time he has a match with John Cena, it's either some disqualification or something. It's gonna happen. That's still
Mhm.
my prediction on it after watching him.
And every time he loses, he's getting madder and madder and madder.
Right,
And
right. I mean,
then was it this week or was it last week that
yeah,
he also got involved in Aleister Black's?
yeah. It
Last
was
week.
this week.
Oh,
It
it
was
was
this
this week.
week.
I'm sorry, my weeks are
Yeah,
blending
he
together.
went out and he put the STF on the one guy from Pretty Deadly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was just like going to town on him.
yeah.
And
So
I like that they could possibly put Ron Killings on top, and that
Right,
sets up Aleister Black to keep going up because Aleister Black, these little feuds that he has always had, always
right,
builds up, and you think you forget about him, and then he comes back up. I'm
right,
loving it, and I love the promo that they cut, and he's like Ron, and he's like Black,
yep,
and then the whole Damian
yep,
Priest thing, it was like trying to show that there was still some goodness in Ron. And of course,
right,
backstage, there is goodness in Ron. He's not a
yeah,
bad guy, he's not a heel.
right.
But man, when he's in that ring,
yep.
he
He's
is doing
Well,
some heel things
the
with some
switch.
good guy qualities.
I think that I think Damian Priest is going to tie in. So I think when it's finally time that John Cena is going to drop the belt to Truth, there's going to be outside interference, and I think Priest is going to come down and be the equalizer for our Truth. You know what I'm saying? It would just make sense. You know what I mean?
It
That
would.
way he's got some backup, and that way, kind of like they did with Cody Rhodes winning it against,
Plus, they're not really doing anything with Damian Priest at the moment, anyway.
right,
I don't know
right.
how many more times they can run back him and McIntyre. I mean,
No, let's not even mention that because it may happen again.
Oh man, knock on wood, right?
Right, right.
So after the count out of that match, out comes CM Punk,
yep,
and
a huge pop. That was
huge pop, and then John Cena does his thing, blindsides him and puts him through a table,
yep.
and then
Shout out
He
Slim
cuts
Jim.
probably one of the best John Cena promos I've ever heard him cut.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
I think what it
Thank
did
you.
too is it solidified him as a heel.
Yep.
Because before this, it was kind of like wishy-washy with him. He really wasn't doing a lot. But after that one, he solidified himself. Dude, I was like, wow, that was awesome.
And that's what I wanted him to do from the very beginning. Like,
Right.
because that whole monotone bull crap.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna speak slowly, and like, because that's what heels. Nobody
Right.
wanted to see that, and now, now him going off the rails and going crazy, which by the way, I was finding hilarious.
Name dropping the buddies that are no longer here.
Yep.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And then he also, I guess, went off on one of the producers because they were also having problems playing his music at the end of the at the end of the thing, and just listening, finally having him drop like curse words that he normally doesn't do because of squeaky clean image or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was
squeaky clean image. I watched the guy talk about masturbation in a movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, in ring. Let me rephrase.
In ring.
I think though, if you, I understand he was still a good guy for the kids, but he already did so much in Hollywood that this is the John Cena we needed, and I wish that we had more time. I wish that he would say, "Hey, I'm gonna give it another year."
I still want to see, like you said, I want to see the Doctor of Thugonomics come out of him.
Right.
I want to see it. That would be fantastic. And maybe, you look now, after he did what he did this past Friday, maybe he's going to really start changing every week.
He did kind of reference it in a way.
Yeah.
Well, like right before he did that mic drop, he referenced it.
Right.
So it might be
the halftime alone when he was yelling at Nick, the general manager. I was like, "There's Dr. Thugonomics right there."
Right.
Many people forget about his heel run. Like when he was first coming up, he was a heel. No one could stand John Cena. I couldn't stand John Cena.
Right.
See, I missed all that. I stopped watching wrestling from like 2003 to like 2010, 11. The whole ruthless aggression thing, I missed altogether. So I missed all his early stuff.
When it came down to it, they had nobody, and John Cena was the one that said, "Hey, it's gonna be me. I'll do it for you." And then he was the face and the heel for a while, and his heel, and just like every heel, you get so good at being bad that the crowd loves you. And he used to do promos where he was like, "You can suck on these," and throw nuts at people.
Right.
And that's what turned the whole train, because that was always great. But I wish that we still had. He already said it. He's like, there's going to be 6 months left. We needed this John Cena 5-6 years ago.
Well, I mean, if you think about it though, 5 or 6 years ago, I mean, I will give him credit about something. Okay, he did his job as somebody who wasn't the champion, who'd already been there. He was actually passing torches to people. You know what I mean? He was doing. I mean, so you got to give the guy credit. I mean, he was a company man. He was trying to build the product, get these other ones over.
But what happened to his torches? What happened to those torches? He passed it to Austin Theory, They didn't do
Right.
nothing with Austin Theory after a while, and
Right.
Austin Theory is a great wrestler.
Well, you can't fault John Cena on that though. You got to fault the
No, I'm
writers.
not.
I mean,
Right,
but looking at
Vince
him being
McMahon.
a company guy, and he's always been that guy for the company. Going,
right.
what do you need me to do? Yep, I have no problem. I'll let him win.
Yep.
I'll pass the torch. I'll make him look good. So I mean, he's been solid about that. And like you said, though, I wish we would have had a year and a half of this, not just a
Yeah.
year, right? Because then he could really transition and do a whole bunch of stuff. But I think the best of John Cena heel is yet to come. I think we're going to see a lot more cool stuff from him.
Yeah. My opinion though is whatever the storyline was with The Rock, let it just be
Yep.
dead. Don't
Yeah,
don't try, don't try to rewrap around that and try to bring that
right,
back.
right,
Just let him do what he needs to do, unless it's an fu to The Rock after, and then
right.
who's the next heel after John Cena, which will probably be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
I,
Um,
I personally do like the whole flip when you consider what Cena is now compared to what Punk was 14 years ago. Because he even mentioned it.
yeah,
He mentioned
yes.
that you were the best in the world for 7 minutes
yes,
14 years ago. You
Hmm.
know,
I'm the goat.
I like him basically ripping off CM Punk in the way he's doing it now because he's
Yeah,
not a corporate guy. Well, he is a corporate guy, but he's not a corporate guy anymore.
right.
I
So,
love how I love how it's uh, CM Punk was the heel at that time, and he was an amazing heel at that time.
yep.
But and now it's John Cena, and this is probably the better of the Cena last runs with his rivals. Like they
Yep,
didn't really give that much promo with Orton, which they had a good rivalry too. But
right.
this, the one rivalry that I remember in Cena's time would be CM Punk. So I hope that they really do it to the max with this.
Right,
Um, Steel cage, Hell in a Cell,
right,
whatever. Give me it
right,
all.
right. And it's like the reason I keep hoping that it's our truth that's the savior is because there was mention of another guy, and I hope it's not because it'll be. There's been some people talking about how everything got cleared up, and they might be saving it for a Brock surprise because he had a feud with Cena, and they're like, you know what? He took him to Suplex City like 22 times. Maybe he'll take him 30 times this time. And I'm like, that match was so
Mm,
boring. All it was suplexes, And the problem is I don't want to see that match because it's not going to be fun to watch, right? It won't
if
be
you
fun,
know, but if you know the history of that match, the
right?
reason why that he got that match and he was thrown suplex 22
Right.
times was he had just beat the Undertaker.
Sure,
So it was John Cena letting Brock have his moment because it was like you
sure,
just beat the Undertaker, you have to beat me.
right,
I wouldn't mind a surprise Brock return on that because
sure,
that feud was great. That's what started the whole FU and the Triple A
sure, sure.
move and everything.
But but the
Um,
but the problem is that they're going to make it a complete squash match because it's not
yeah,
it's not believable that
no,
John Cena can fight Brock Lesnar. It's just not. You know what I mean? You can't have that happen against a guy like him. It's not going to happen. They're going to do a squash match just like Goldberg. Whoever he goes out against, he squashes people. I don't want to see John Cena leave on a squash match. You know what I'm saying? I want him to have a good ending, whether he's a heel or a good guy, whatever. I want him to have a good ending
So
to this
I was
farewell.
going to say. So let me ask you this: would you rather see John Cena go out winning every match by disqualification, or would you rather have him go out by a squash match?
To
I
tell
can't.
you that to,
ooh,
to tell you the truth, I think he deserves better than a squash match. I mean, even if he is cheating,
okay.
it's kind of like Roman Reigns when he was in the Bloodline. Every match was a qualification he won, but I don't want to see. I mean, John Cena's done so much for the WWE. I want him to lose and not take the belt with him when he retires, but I want it to be an epic match, something that means something, not just some squash match and done.
Why
You know what I
not?
mean?
But why not bring Brock back like they did Roman? Because it was like who's gonna beat Roman?
Sure.
and then
Sure.
Brock came back, and you're like, oh yeah, that's the guy that's going to beat Roman.
Right. Right.
So why not bring Brock back and make it where like, okay, this is it? Because there was a little bit of a feud with R-Truth and Brock Lesnar at one point in time.
No, that was our truth
Yeah.
and Paul
Yeah.
Heyman, not Brock
Yeah.
Lesnar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, the problem is you go back to the root problem with Brock Lesnar is that he doesn't need to have the belt. I like. Here's the thing: as much as I love Brock Lesnar, I think he fits a different caveat. He needs to fill the spot that Undertaker left. He just needs to be that guy that comes in when somebody needs a beating. He comes in, he shows up, does the job, and leaves for a little bit. You know what I mean? He doesn't need to have that belt on him. Everybody knows he's probably like the baddest man walking wrestling, right? He doesn't need the belt. Because if he gets the belt, then we're going to go back to, well, you're going to see me one time on TV a month, and then we're going to do
Yeah.
one pay-per-view. You're never going to see it.
That's where it's like, okay, we have part-time champions like we
Right,
do on Smack with the WWE
right,
Championship. It seems like everybody has some kind of contract where it's part-time. As far as the heavyweight champion on Raw, there are
right,
fighting champions.
right,
I would like to see fighting champions regardless. Like I get it in this day and age with the sports and the contracts and the money, you can do what you want,
right,
but it needs to be at least, two matches a month plus a pay per view. And
right,
if the pay per view is a little bit, beat up and oh we had some chairs, we had some tables, I got thrown or
right,
whatever, yeah, give them a little bit of a break.
right,
But we need fighting champions in wrestling to keep
right.
wrestling going.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, like I said, not taking anything away from Brock Lesnar, but
Right.
I just don't think he needs to have a belt on him. To be the beast, he doesn't need the belt on him. I mean, they're paying him either which way, big money. He doesn't need to have the belt on him.
So,
He can just go do his thing.
so
You know.
okay, so what's probably going to happen is Seth's going to cash in on Cena,
Yep.
or what he might. I was going to say he cashes in on Cena. Then there's a feud between him and Roman Reigns now from what happened at the Royal Rumble, but I
So,
don't.
Well, I'm thinking Seth is going to cash in on Goldberg. If
Yeah,
Goldberg squashes,
right, right, right,
boom,
right.
and they're going to be over there. So I don't think the Money
And
in the Bank is going to have any effect on Cena at all because it's going to stay on
no,
Monday. But I
but
mean,
it's not going. Cena's not going to WrestleMania, right?
no, it's done.
Right.
It's done in December.
It's done
It's
in
done in
December.
December.
So
Yeah,
it's going to be Seth and then Roman because they really need to squash this brother and sister, mom and dad are fighting. Oh
right,
my God, you threw a chair at me when I was in the Shield. Okay, you threw a chair at me when I lost my title. I am tired of hearing about the Shield and them together. That was
right,
years ago. The Shield was a great group. It carried WWE for a little bit,
right.
but let's finish this so that we can open up new storylines because anymore these are the last of our storylines. They need
Right.
to really be progressing wrestling into the next generation,
Sure.
whether it's sports entertainment, logos on the mat, logos on the chairs, or
Right.
anything.
logos on the signs.
I'm waiting for the belts to actually just have
Well,
logos on them.
hold on. There was I think it was
See,
last week.
that's
They said that there was a sign that I saw in the crowd that said this sign was made by Slim Jim. All right. I thought that was hilarious, and it had the
Right.
Slim Jim logo on it. I was like, that's funny.
Right.
bro.
Right.
So if the belts ever get the logos, that's probably when I'm done being a fan. I may catch it here and there like an AEW match, but I think after that, if it's not the gold cigar belts, I think I'm done after that.
Right. Well, all right. Let's move on here, fellas. Um, if it'll let me.
Let me see
Here we
you.
go.
Thank you guys
So
for coming
we
in.
decided we were going to do a top 5 heels in wrestling history, and I'll tell you what. 30 Spray J. Why don't you do us the honors? Why don't you go first, my man?
All five or just one?
All 5. Give us the list, and we're gonna go over your list. So
All
one by
right.
one.
I got Undertaker, Edge, Randy Orton,
Mm,
Roman Reigns,
yeah,
and John Cena.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's a pretty solid list right
Which
there.
I'm sorry, which Undertaker are we talking about?
Ooh.
Are you
Okay.
talking about like early '90s Undertaker that used to scare the crap out of us little kids, or
Ministry.
like
Gotta
'90s?
be the Ministry.
No, 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 no.
No
I'm
Ministry?
talking. Ministry is right there. That's the start of it. But to me, I liked. He was a good guy. I mean, he was a bad guy, but I like horror stuff, so he was a good guy to me. I'm talking Dead Man Inc. shoving people in faces in Vince's ass. I'm talking chair to the throat with Maven. I'm
Right.
talking, this
You're
is
talking
Mario.
short hair Undertaker. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm talking Dead Man Inc., American Badass, Motorcycle,
Right.
Undertaker.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. He was doing some cool stuff when he was the American Badass. Yeah. I would agree with that list. I think everybody on that list is probably deserving of
Yeah,
being on that.
yeah, I have no issue with it.
Yeah.
Cena, that's probably about the only
Well,
issue. Like borderline.
Sleeping on him. You're sleeping on him. You got to think about Doctor Thugonomics. He's
Yep.
nuts in
right.
your face. And then you got to think about what is happening right now in WWE. Let the plot, let the story build.
Right.
He's going to shock you before this is all over.
Right. Well, what about you, Sasquatch? What's your list?
Uh, you know what? It was Ted DiBiase and the Million Dollar Man.
Yeah.
And if you were a fan in the '80s, he was the number one bad guy. Jake the Snake Roberts, he was number two.
Yeah.
Loved how he never really yelled, so you had to listen to what he was saying, and he
Yep.
always seemed mean. Number three was Mr. Perfect because his little arrogant self and
Right.
the vignettes that he used to do had me cracking up when I was little. Um, number four, number four. You know what? It was Rick Rude. I'm gonna say Rick Rude. I forget
Yeah.
who.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Anytime
Yeah.
you can call anybody, fat people sweat hogs, I'm all for it.
So wait, if I call you a sweat hog, it's cool?
You can call me a sweat hog. I've been called worse. I mean, I've been called worse by my wife than a sweat hog. It's fine. Number five is Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love.
Ooh,
I don't like Kevin Owens as a face. I love him as a
Right.
heel. I
I
actually
agree.
loved the recent ones where he would just get so angry when like somebody would mention somebody's name and then their music would play. That was
Right.
hilarious. And then it's a caveat. 5B, my honorable mention
Mm.
was Samoa Joe. Samoa
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah.
Oh,
I couldn't
that's
make
a
up my
good one.
because
Yeah.
Samoa Joe had
When
a
Samoa
promo.
Joe used to jump, or walk away from people jumping on him, or
That,
Right.
that
but
was hilarious.
it was more towards he had cut a promo. It was on Randy Orton. It was on.
Jeff
They were all
Hardy.
at the same time. It was like 6 different wrestlers in the ring. He cut a promo on every single one of them
Right.
as he's
Yeah,
walking to the ring, and just
yeah.
destroyed all of them. Like all of them.
When they actually mentioned Jeff Hardy's, when he mentioned Jeff Hardy's, this isn't an AA
Alcohol addiction.
meeting.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
my jaw dropped. That was like, this is real life. Like,
Right.
exactly.
I want to see the backstage fights. Like, I can't believe you said that to me.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
So
I think
that would be my top five. So
I think that's a solid list right there. That's a solid list.
Okay.
So my list in no
Latino.
order. Um, First off, I got Scott Hall, man. How can you not put him on the
Woo!
list being the guy that comes out and tells you one more for the bad guy, right? I mean, he knew he was the bad guy. I just
Oh,
loved how when he would cut promos, how like calm he was,
oh yeah.
and when he told you he was the bad guy, you're like, I don't doubt this guy's a bad guy. You know what I mean? He just
and
did so many cool things.
he's the greatest actor of all time too.
Right,
Yes.
right, right.
Now look,
And
one, Scott Hall was the reason why I ever started using a toothpick.
yep,
Two, Scott Hall was the bad guy that everyone wanted to be.
right. He was.
Good.
To go along with that, next on my list is Ric Flair. And the thing about
Woo!
Ric Flair
Again.
is the gift of gab, right? This guy, they're probably, in my opinion, in the top three of best on the mic. But he was arrogant, right? Like when he came out and he was
Mhm.
wearing them alligator shoes and he told you about it and he's talking about how much money he's spending. And the best promo I ever heard, and I about fell off my chair, is the first time when he said, "And all you ladies out there, you got to be this tall to ride Space Mountain." I about fell off the chair, right?
My
You knew,
my favorite.
you knew every working class guy out there hated him because he was
Mhm.
the man. And you want to talk about drawing heat. I mean, in the WWE era, I don't think he drawed as much heat as he did in the NWA era. But man, that dude back in his heyday drew heat. He was arrogant. He always had the best clothes on. And I think he
Yep.
in his interview, I think he said he lost like 5 or 6 like big dollar Rolex watches in hotel rooms. But just that guy to me was the epitome of just an awesome heel. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think there'd be an Enzo Amore on the mic.
Oh,
So
Two weeks ago, I'll let you know. 2 weeks.
oh,
right. So
oh.
my next one on there is Roddy Piper, and the
Okay.
reason why I think he was such an awesome heel is if you look back in the early '80s, especially when he was feuding with Hogan, right? The heat that he generated with Mr. T, with WrestleMania and Hogan and that. I mean,
Oh, hell
Um,
no.
dude, he
He's
was
really
he was a
snooker.
yeah. I mean, with Snuka, with Hogan, with Mr. T. I mean, the dude knew how, and he was awesome on the mic. I
Did-
mean, how many times? I mean, I love to go back and watch all the Piper's Pits, right?
yeah.
And I
Did
mean,
you
you're awesome when you have a bodyguard that's a cowboy and he's got a fake cast on his arm for like 5 6 years, right?
yeah,
So
you heard about the story of when him and Bad News Brown were having
yeah,
that feud, and he did the whole
yeah,
blackface,
yeah,
and
yeah,
what happened with him?
yeah,
Like, apparently Andre the Giant thought it was funny to take
right.
the paint remover that he had
Oh,
specifically
that's
for
right.
this,
Yeah,
dump it down the drain, and replace it with water. So
right.
he was flying through Detroit, and
Oh
he's
God.
has this
Oh God.
big teddy bear for his kid for his daughter, and he's half blackface, and apparently he had a gun with him in the airport,
Oh boy.
and
Oh boy. Yeah.
he's telling this story, and I'm like, oh, I'm surprised. I don't know how he did not make it out alive.
Right.
So
I gotta
Right.
say the best Ric Flair promo that me and my best friend always talk about is, ladies, you can never be first,
But you can
but
be
you can
next.
always.
Right. Right. Yep. The
How many
next one I
times?
had on.
Yeah,
The
go ahead.
next one I had on is Triple H, but the Triple H that I thought was awesome was the cerebral assassin era of him. Um,
I'll give you that, but
yeah.
some of the heels didn't have to sleep their way to the top.
Well, yeah, but let's be honest though. You can say that about him, but dude, he got put on the list a bunch of times of punishment by Vince McMahon.
Oh yeah,
You know,
oh
I
yeah.
mean, I mean,
curtain call.
do you remember the really really bad squash match that when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley that Ultimate Warrior gave
Yeah,
him?
Yeah.
I
yeah,
mean, the
yeah.
guy paid his
Oh
dues.
no,
He really
He
did.
he,
Triple H.
he took all the heat for the curtain call. He took
Yeah,
it
Yeah,
all. He was
yeah,
supposed to be
yeah,
world champion before that,
right,
and
yeah.
he was
right,
on.
Oh no, I
right,
love Triple H. He's probably in the top three of my favorite
right,
wrestlers.
right,
I just have to say that just because he happened
right,
to fall in love with the daughter of the boss,
right,
and that heel turn, which turned him into a good guy against
right,
Stephanie through that whole time. But
right,
Cerebral Assassin, where you were just shocked at the things that he did and the
right,
people that he backstabbed. His feud
right.
with Shawn Michaels, his feud
Mm-hmm.
with Taker. I mean,
Right.
that was my childhood.
I'm
I love
Right.
Triple H.
I'm,
Right.
I'm just disappointed you didn't pick terrorizing. That's it. I'm disappointed for that. Yeah.
So the next one on my list was
Terror.
Macho Man.
Oh
So
yeah.
I
What
think,
does bone saw count as that, or is just straight macho?
but I like
Damn, 60
I like
seconds.
Macho Man because when he was a bad guy, when he was a heel, he was a heel. I mean, he
Oh yeah.
didn't care. You know, I
I'm
mean,
gonna have to go back and look because Macho Man to me has always been the Slim Jim snapping
No, no.
into.
so
He's the one that broke up the mega powers.
the Mega Powers,
It,
yeah,
it was him.
he flipped,
Oh,
but he was, you know, I mean, when he initially got to WWE, he was not a babyface. He was a heel. Um, he had that arrogant, I'm the man, you know, I'm the most machoest man out there. I mean, there he drew a lot of heat, you know.
And then he became Macho King, and then he really
Right,
went full. But him
right,
and
right,
Sensational Sherry went full
right.
bag. Yeah.
Yep. You know, then he, you know, he went in when he ended up in WCW, and then he got in the NWO. It was kind of like I don't think they fully used him like they could have because obviously him and Hogan had some issues, you know, but I think they could have used him better. But I do have an honorary mention. I was going to mention John Cena, but it's already been taken. But my honorary mention is, and he kind of is, it's different because Brock Lesnar is one of those guys that does his thing.
yeah,
Okay. When he
yeah,
decides to be a heel, he can be one hell of a heel. Um,
yeah.
I just don't give him a lot of credit as a heel because he really doesn't have the skills on the mic, right? So that's why he wasn't really in my top five because he doesn't have the skills as a heel on the mic, right? Now, when he did this Cowboy Brock thing, when he was actually
He had
talking,
the mic
but
skills.
he was not a heel at that time. So when he did all his heel stuff, he had to have a mouthpiece. So that's why I didn't rank him higher because
Yeah,
Makes
as a badass and going down and beating people up and not caring, I think he was awesome. But he just missed that one element. He couldn't talk on the mic. But
Yeah,
when
you know what really killed me about that was
Mhm.
it was his voice. His voice did not match his physique. Like
Right,
it was too high pitched. Like
well,
it was supposed to be down here, but it was more up here, and it just made him sound weak whenever he was on the mic. You know what I mean?
when he still
so
had a flip phone, I was like, what's going on
right,
here? I would never question it in person, but I will say
Um,
it behind.
right. Well, you know, I mean, look at Mike Tyson, right? I would never
yeah,
make fun of him about his voice,
Oh
man.
yeah.
I mean, you never expected that voice, but Brock Lesnar, you know, I mean, but like I said, he's kind of different though because he wouldn't be a typical heel, right?
Did
He
you hear the
just
story about when Jackass was going against Sami Zayn and he power bombed one of the guys in a restaurant through a table?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you got to look that up. That's hilarious. He straight suplexed one of the I think it was the little man through a table in front of everybody, and then
Okay,
paid. You know, obviously went and paid. You know, here this is for the damage, blah blah blah. But
right,
just for the heck of it, because you know the Jackass guys, they just love good things like that.
right, right. But yeah, I mean, I think all three of our top five heels lists were pretty solid. You know, um, I can't think. I mean, there was mention in the chat room about two of them that I probably would put on a list. Iron Sheik.
yeah.
Back in the day, that guy drew
Oh,
heat with
Oh
Hogan.
baby, oh
I
buddy.
mean, he drew a lot of heat. And then another one that I kind of forgot about, and I'm kind of can't believe I forgot about him was Sid Vicious, man.
yeah.
Ooh,
Of the
Yeah,
world, yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
The justice, depending on which federation
right,
you're in.
wow.
And I
right.
see, I had
Psycho Sid.
I had originally put Big Van Vader, on my
Yeah,
list when he had the
yeah,
Japanese elephant
yeah,
mask. when he was in WCW, but I had to take him off because Rick Rude was a better heel overall. But there was another one. So
Right.
Now, out of the 15 that we have chosen, can we come to an agreement of who was the best? Who was
Ric
the
Flair.
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair is the number one heel of all time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
not number two. Like depending on what year or era you're in, you could say Iron Sheik was number two, especially during the early '90s with the whole Iraq War, and they played that up with him and Sergeant Slaughter because he was turning Mustafa.
General Adnan.
Yeah. So depending on what year, but I would say Ric Flair easily is number one heel of all time.
I would have to agree, but at the same time, in my childhood, the realest heel that there was Edge because of the whole real life drama between Lita and Matt Hardy.
Yeah,
it was so real.
Right. I mean, I think he deserves to be in the top 15 that we just did, but there's no way you can put him above Ric Flair as a heel.
You know what?
He just didn't do enough. Yeah, he just didn't do enough.
If you were going to do that, it would be Flair number one, and I hate to say it, Hulk Hogan would be number two.
Yeah, I didn't
just that heel turn, that first heel turn when he was in WCW that nobody saw coming. That right there would be your number two heel of all time.
I was thinking about putting Hulk Hogan on the list, but my thing was that I didn't want to simply put him on there because it was such a surprise of a heel turn, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you look at him, he did some heel stuff, but it was mostly his faction that was doing all the dirty work.
But even if you go back in like the 80s and early 90s,
oh for sure,
when he was a good guy, he was still doing heel shit. You know what I mean? Like take for example the 1992 Royal Rumble, where Flair won it, and he's the one that pulled Sid Vicious over the rope.
Right.
I don't know about you, but that's a heel move. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, the other thing is if you look at him before he became the red and yellow Hulkster, he was a heel before
exactly.
You know? But I mean, he did do some awesome stuff as a heel. I just don't think he's memorable as a heel. I don't think people ever look at Hogan and go, "Yep, I remember." Everybody, when you talk about Hulk Hogan, they remember him as in the red, in the gold, talking about take your vitamins, say your prayers, and come here, brother.
Every childhood movie that I watched had Hulk Hogan in it. So I mean,
but that's just because your parents only let you watch 3 horrible movies, and that was
it. Rip them, Jay. Rip them, Jay. Rip them. You know, talking about heels, that movie had a hell of a heel because Zeus was a heel. If they would have actually would have played him right when they did the storyline of when he came into wrestling, I mean that dude was a monster. And but I think he was kind of uncontrollable because I believe I heard interviews where he was kind of out of control personally anyway. Like nobody really wanted to But I know he went to WCW. They brought him in as Gangster or something like that. They called him. Yeah, he didn't have very long runs, but he could have been a heck of a heel if they would have done him right. You know.
The crazy thing is, I saw that my sister took me to go see that movie and the movie Twins at a back-to-back showing at a drive-in theater.
That's awesome.
Such a random memory. All right, thank you for that.
What was worse? Was that one worse? What was that? No Holds Barred or was Suburban Commando?
Oh, Suburban Commando by far.
The best part of Suburban Commando is seeing the Undertaker as one of the bounty hunters.
Oh,
he doesn't talk, and he just
the helmet that he had to wear. That was
that was the only movie that he did, and after that, he stayed in character. He said after that he wasn't doing anything, and that's why we got such a great Undertaker character from 30
What was that before or after? Was that Mr. Nanny or whatever that was?
Yeah,
that was before Mr. Nanny. Yeah. So guys, we kind of touched on this earlier, but future wrestling predictions. Any wrestling predictions that we didn't talk about that you wanna kind of make?
Go ahead, Dino.
I think Jade Cargill is going to win the Queen of the Ring. It's just I can't see them not pushing her because they've been pushing her so much. They've got to get her momentum. They've got to solidify her and get her momentum going. I don't think CM Punk is going to win when he fights Cena. It's not in the cards with him. But I already told you, I think Goldberg is going to squash Gunter. And as far as prediction, that's all I got right now, really.
Well, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was going to say Roman Reigns comes back at SummerSlam.
Of course.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what he came back the first time, so I think so.
Right.
Of course.
He comes back and he attacks. He goes after Seth Rollins. That's what.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great prediction. I want to say that the White Six wins the tag teams this next week.
Yeah.
And that starts building up a greater tag team match for them. And then what's next for the White Six after that? So you got to put Nikki Cross in the middle of the women's championships, and you got to give Uncle Howdy something. He can't just be the guy that spins his fingers and sits in the rocking chair. He's gonna have to start doing some more wrestling. But I would say by WrestleMania it's gonna be Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. What about you, Squash?
Yeah. Like I said, I mentioned it at the top of the show. I'm going to mention it again. July 4th, I'm dropping my new scent. It's what is it, Firecracker? I'm sorry, I forgot the name of it. No, Firecracker comes out July 4th. It's my take on a bomb pop. It smells freaking fantastic. The artwork's on my socials if you want to go check it out. But that's really about it.
Right.
That's all I got.
Alrighty.
Enzo, see, we've been at a 1 lately, 1-0, because you didn't mention really at all last week.
Technically, we're at a 2 because he won't change my artwork. He makes me look like Enzo. So we're at a 2.
Well, it's not me. It's Chat GPT that will not. I mean, here we go. This is
you know what?
That is fantastic right there.
You know what? I can make him look more like Jay. Just send me the artwork that you're
Don't take my fun away, Squad.
I'm not going to. I'll come up with some. Jay, send me a photo what you might want to use, and then I'll come up with something. But
just remember, Jay, I'm still the one that has to upload it.
This is true. And I'll make him look like a Sasquatch. It's fine.
Right. so the Enzo Amore meter has not been too bad lately. I've calmed the Enzo addiction down some. But next week we should
7 times before the show.
We should probably do a giveaway sometime if people can guess how many times I say or mention him in the live stream. So yeah, we'll have to do that sometime.
We'll do a giveaway. You know what? I'll put a box up. It's fine.
You know, Squash. This is perfect for you. Maybe you should make an Enzo scent profile so we can give it away.
I could just make it smell like New Jersey trash. It's fine.
I mean, it is what it is, right?
I can't say that because that's North Jersey trash. That's not Jersey trash. That's a specific Jersey
realest
trash.
one in the room. You can call it that and send it away, man. Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, it could be the special scent
before
giveaway.
The yeet, I'm going to be upset.
I
want yeet on my face.
Well,
we're just gonna leave that one there. I'm like, that one.
He could always make the Enzo one as just a special giveaway oil on the show.
You know what? I will. Yeah.
Well, so that way it's not a release before the yeet, and that'll make 30 Spray J happy. See, we're all happy. Everything's happy. Everything's good, right?
Does this count as the meter? He said Enzo like 7 times in this.
Now he's at a 4.
Well, here's the thing. That was business talk. That was business talk.
And by the way, Finest, no. I posted a video what happened last time I did the mating call, And yeah, you have to go on my
Wait a minute,
socials.
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. What do we got here?
There you
Look at
go.
that.
There you go. There
What
you go.
what do we
Like I
got
said, I
here? What do we
posted a
got
video
here?
on last time on my socials. You got to go look on my Instagram, see what happened. But
You
yeah,
know,
it's on there. You'll see it. It's not hard to find.
you know, Jay, you got to fill in, man. You can't let us down. Since Sasquatch do it, you got to give us
Oh,
the mating call, man. You got to give us the mating call.
Do
Come
it. Do
on,
it. Do it.
got to do it, man. Got to
Yeah, you
do
can
it.
do it.
I got nothing, dude. I got to get the phlegm in the back of the throat. I can't even do it. Oh, oh yeah.
See,
Oh, yeah.
this is why we need Chief. We need Chief to
Yeah.
do a special run in, do the meeting call, and then leave. That's what we
Yeah.
And leave.
Uh, I
leave.
was asked if all you guys are going to Worlds. Now, myself and Dino, Tactical Santa, will be at Worlds, but we will be looking in the bushes for Sasquatch because
May
unless
or
we
may not
can,
make an appearance.
unless we can kidnap him, he says he's not coming. So
Yeah, like I said, I found out about Worlds way too late for me to take off time from the day job, unfortunately. And I hate to say it, the day job comes before my pleasure because stupid gimmick things called bills.
Right.
But hopefully next
You
time it
know,
comes around, I'll be there.
so a final thought. I just thought of something. We were talking about it backstage, but with everything going on, is there going to be a live event pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia? I mean, what do you guys think?
ooh,
I don't think there is. I think it's too much. I mean, mind you, it's going to change like 17 times over the next week because it's what? No, it's 2 Saturdays from now. So in like the next
Right.
week and a half, it's going to change back and forth. I don't think there
Right.
is. That's just
I would. To me, I would say contractual, yeah, and then you're going to hear about how wrestlers have gotten kidnapped and held, like we have before in the past. I think that they're still going to go.
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the Saudi matches, just because it just seems like it's for Saudi Arabia. It's not just for the whole wrestling world.
Yep.
Right. Something to think about though is here's another thing. Um, what if wrestlers are like, "Hey, I'm not going to go do it. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel my safety's over."
CM Punk's already said he doesn't want to go, and he's on the
Right.
main event. I'm like,
That's the
Right.
main event. That's the main
yeah.
event right there.
So
Now
But
the
you
problem
know,
is if they decide not to go to Saudi Arabia, where do they hold it at this late of time? I mean, where do you hold it?
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
or do you just scratch it and say we're going to move it? Yeah, I mean,
I
I
mean,
don't know. I
it's
don't have
probably
any
like I
answers
said, it's
for you.
probably going to come down to
me
the
too.
final
We will
moments.
find out.
Yeah. So this is a
Right.
very weird time.
I say if it doesn't go to Saudi, they should try to slam it in there in Chicago, because then it's a bigger hype for CM Punk will win in his hometown, and then he doesn't win.
So, yeah, that would be an all-time heel movie. Have your hometown guy lose in his hometown. That never happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the problem is the logistic problem, right? Who doesn't have a game, anything going on at their arena, and how do you sell these tickets? How do you figure out because you know, I mean, I don't know how many people here are flying over to Saudi Arabia, right? Probably not a high percentage, you know, but you got to figure that out. What do you do with ticket sales?
Yeah,
Do you do refund? Do you give them the, I mean,
yeah,
all sorts of
yeah.
stuff.
Nobody's going to be able to afford ticket prices at that. They just announced Raw here in Philly the 18th of August, and then the SmackDown right before SummerSlam in Newark. And apparently
Right.
Cena's supposed to be at both shows. And I was looking at
Hmm.
tickets, and there's just absolutely no way in hell I can afford those. Absolutely none.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. It's almost, and it's sad too, because you look at it and it's almost like
they're
they're pricing their fans out of the
absolutely like
business, right?
I went to SmackDown a couple weeks ago, and for nosebleeds, like I was at the top of the arena next to the wall. That was still
Right.
damn near $100, and I'm like, really
Right.
for nosebleeds? It was killing me.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. So one of my final thoughts is this right here.
Yep.
This is our non-shameful plugs for Elegant Sasquatch, because he does have an awesome small batch company. Myself and 30 Spray J have a lot of scent profiles from him. Probably the coolest thing about too is, do you still are any of the wrestling scent profiles still available?
Every single one of them are.
I'm gonna tell you
I haven't
what.
got, because they've been selling it. Because I was just gonna break it down to OTC and Woo, but I couldn't. Like the other two are still selling really well. I'm like, I got to keep them up now.
Right.
So.
And that's what I was going to say. All 4 of those scent profiles are amazing. If anybody's on the border, check out my YouTube channel. I did a review on all 4 of them. They are fantastic.
If I'm not mistaken, I still got the 4-pack of those up. I think if you
Which
buy
of the 4 is your favorite, Dino?
OTC.
OTC?
I love OTC.
I love OTC.
I had to reach out to Sasquatch and be like, "Hey, man, I need beard wash and OTC." I love it, man. I love it.
I
Yeah.
do love the OTC,
Yeah.
but I am a big fan of the Woo. Woo!
Yeah.
That's my personal favorite out of all 4 of them.
Right. I mean, it's hard to pick anyone's your favorite, because none of the 4 are filler material. All 4 of them are bangers in their own way. It just, to me, it just depends on what kind of mood you're in.
Exactly.
That day.
And one of them, and to be honest with you, the Undertaker one, the Rest in Peace, actually led into Low Pan, which I released the following month, because I made a mistake when I was putting my beard oils on, and I combined 2 scents into one.
Right.
And then now Low Pan is my all-time favorite one that I actually make. So.
Right, and that one is a banger too. But I'll tell you what, if you guys have not tried out Elegant Sasquatch, do yourself a favor, go grab some of his stuff.
Yep.
You're not
Elegant
Sasquatch
Sasquatch.
It is awesome.
Code.etsy.com is where you can find me. All on the social medias. It's Elegant Sasquatch Beard Company on Facebook, and then Elegant Sasquatch all underscore in between those words on Instagram.
Right.
So y'all know where to find me.
Right. But yeah, definitely don't miss out on this one. I am excited about it. I can't wait to get it in my hands. What about you, Jay?
I've got nothing. I can't wait to see everybody next week. We're going to see what's popping up of this week's wrestling. Definitely check out my boy Sasquatch's, Elegant Sasquatch's Beard Company, and all his products.
I hope y'all don't melt when you're out here, because it's still supposed to be hot next week, I think.
No.
So, good luck. Hydrate. We are
coming to the end sooner or later of men's mental health, but it shouldn't just be a month. It should be all year long. So definitely speak up if you need to be spoken for, and get you some help, and maybe just some good communication with some brothers. I know that my communication and my mental health is better with my 2 brothers down here, whether it's once a week or it's whether a couple times a week when we talk to each other.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, in closing, I will say this. We all want to thank all of you for watching. We can't do this without you. We enjoy your support. Remember, if there's anything you want us to talk about, if you want anything like that, reach out to one of the 3 of us or all 3 of us. Let us know what you want to see on this show. But we really appreciate everybody for liking and subscribing to this. We try to make it fun for everybody. But before we go, there's a couple things, 2 things. Guys, what is our list next week? What are we going to have the top 5 list of?
You want to do female wrestlers?
Female wrestlers, or what do you guys want to do? Top 5 heel females, or just top 5 female wrestlers, or what's the caveat?
Oh, definitely got to give them some bad girl credit. Got to give them the heels.
Alrighty,
it's gonna be a tough list, man.
Be on the lookout, because we are going to talk about what our entrances would be like if we were a WWE wrestler.
There you go.
Sure. So we're going to be talking about that, talking about 5 top female heels. So it should be a very fun show.
And then we'll also talk about, Saturday Night Main Event too, right? That's what Saturday.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. So we'll
yeah,
talk. We'll
yeah, we'll
recap
talk about
that
all
and
of it.
whatever else happens. AEW, New Japan. If any news pops up with that, we'll talk about that too. So
Right, right. So everybody, I'm going to do my best Santa Tom, my Trace Amigos brother. But before I do, just remember, join us tomorrow night on the Monday Night Mayhem show. It's going to be a fun time. But the world could use a little more love and joy. So be kind to one another and spread that love and joy around. And remember, thank you very much. We all love you. Lots of love for everybody. Thank you. Have a good night. We'll see you soon.